So today's video, I'm ranking every League Two stadium from the 2023-24 season. The way we're going to do it in a little league system. So obviously 24th will be the worst stadium. We'll work up until the top spot. Yeah, there's a variety of stadiums in this league. I think there's a few stadiums which are outstanding, probably too good for League Two, and then you've got some awful grounds from this season, and you know probably not up to standard for the Football League. But yeah, it probably makes it what's good about this league. You know, you go and visit different stadiums, different experiences. That's a plus side. But yeah, like I said, there is some absolute shocking stadiums in this league. But yeah, let's get into the video. Just before going to the ranking, I am just purely basing this off the stadium. Nothing to do with the away day itself. It's purely on the stadium, how I thought it was on the day. So let's get into it. 24th, I've got Sutton United, obviously recently been relegated. And you could tell this was their first stint in the EFL. The stadium's not up to scratch with the Football League, really. Obviously, they've had to make some changes. You know, that stand behind the goal now where the away fans are. They put some good work into that to put it up to standard, because before that, you struggle to see any of the game really, how low the stand was. But yeah, Sutton probably 24th, in my opinion. That's where I've got them down to be. 23rd, another relegated side, Forest Green Rovers. If we're going off the away stand alone, that is got to be the worst in the league personally. A massive stretch on the side. You can't generate atmosphere. An open end away stand too. So if we're going off the away end alone, that is the worst in the league. But yeah, the stadium, not a massive fan of it really. It's not up to standard. Like I said, I think the bottom five I've got down in this list are not up to standard. So yeah, 23rd Forest Green, 22nd, 22nd Harrogate Town. Yeah, another stadium. Like I said, the bottom five are just not up to standard really. And like I said, a bit like Sutton, they've had to make a few adjustments to bring it up to EFL standard, but still not good enough. But I think the longer Harrogate stay in the league, the more it would get up to standard really. So yeah, fair play to them on the footballing side. They've had another good season, but the stadium itself not brilliant. 21st Barrow. Yeah, I went there for the first time this season on Tuesday night, freezing night in November, I think it was, and obviously they've had to put up a temporary stand there because I think if you get additional away fans, I think you put them on by the home fans, and I think they've got a massive plastic shield that blocks off one of the goals, which is awful. Didn't have to experience that, but was put in a new temporary stand, and I had to stand right at the front for this one because if I'd stand back any further, there was just massive poles in the way which would have blocked most of the game. Yeah, not a massive fan of Barrow's ground. Probably has character, but just the restricted view alone has to go in 21st. 20th, I've got Salford City. This probably concludes more of the poor stadiums in the league. Salford, I like how it's all rounded, all the way round. You know, there's no one massive stand and three smaller stands. I think that's a decent touch, really. But yeah, it's another stadium, not good enough for the Football League. The away end, not brilliant as well. I think if you stand on the back row, you're just about getting in line with the crossbar. And yeah, it's another stadium, not good enough for the Football League, really. In 19th place, I've got Accrington Stanley. Obviously, we weren't in the away end as such. The famous one behind the goal with the open end, we weren't in that one, and gladly so, because the weather on the day was awful. It was wet and windy, so kind of glad we was in the covered stand. But saying that, it was a windy day and just getting rain blowing into your face wasn't brilliant. But Accrington, it has to go 19th. There's a lot more better grounds than it really. Again, better than the other five or so below them. But yeah, 19th place at Accrington Stanley. 18th, I've got Crawley Town. Similar reason really. Not as bad as the other ones, but not as good as some of the others. The away end, not brilliant as well. Like I've mentioned before, I think it was the Salford one. The height on the away end isn't brilliant. We stood on the corner this time, so we could see a little bit more of the game. The stadium as a whole probably needs a few adjustments, especially if they get promoted as well. But yeah, 18th place at Accrington. 18th place for Crawley. I mean, 17th I've got Newport County. Obviously, this one is a rugby ground, isn't it? Really, and yeah, you can just tell it's a rugby ground. Obviously, last season when I went, especially, wasn't a brilliant experience. We stood in the open away end, and it was tipping it down all game, but nothing on the stadium. We've got a good, nice stand on the right hand side of where I stood in the away end. That's a decent little stand. But the rest, yeah, it's not brilliant, not up to scratch in points. But yeah, it's a solid little ground, and I've had some good experiences out at Newport. So yeah, 17th, 16th, Morecambe. If you talk about an away day, this would probably be up there. But yeah, we went opening day of the season. It was a packed out away end. You can see you can get a good atmosphere going there. It's a covered stand and standing as well. So yeah, in terms of that aspect, it's decent little away end. The stand behind the dugout as well. That's a nice little stand. And overall, it's not a bad little ground. I think the stand on the side, on the right hand side of that away end behind the goal, probably could do a little bit of work. But overall, not a bad little ground. Morecambe, 16th place. 15th, I've got Crewe. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one. Crewe. They've obviously got their massive stand on the side, which they can't fill, and then the other three stands are really low. And yeah, it's a bit of a weird stadium, Crewe. I think if we're talking about an away end, I think it's down there. I think you can't really generate much atmosphere from it, and I think if you stand right at the back back of it as well, you struggle to see some of the game from it. Crewe, not like I said, not a bad little ground. 15th place, probably about right in terms of my ranking. 14th, I've got Gillingham. Obviously, it's my first time to Gillingham this season. A long trek down there, but stadium as a whole, I think it's not a bad ground. I think they've got two decent stands. Obviously, the one behind the goal, I think that's a good one. Once Gillingham are playing some good football, that one I can imagine getting rocking. Then the one opposite where I was standing on the away end, not a bad little stand, but yes, that stand I was standing in, yeah, it's a bit outdated really. I think that needs a little bit of work done too. And then obviously the famous uncovered stand, the scaffolding stand, I think they call it really, and yeah, not a brilliant stand for Gillingham. When I put my flag up there this season, it definitely needs some work doing. I think some of the seats, yeah, there's no seats on them, a couple of holes in them. So yeah, I think that really needs to be addressing. 14th place for Gillingham. 13th place, I've got Grimsby Town. I think if you're going out of all the grounds, this has probably got the most character. You walk up to the ground, in an industrial area, and yeah, it's really got some character to the ground. But I can't put it any higher for the fact the away end really. I've had two experiences. The first season we was on the other side. I think where they put the majority of the away fans. When you get a decent decent following there, when you get 300 or 400 fans plus. And if you stood right at the back, I think you couldn't see the goal really, which isn't great, for in 2024 now. You should be able to see the pitch really, so that needs addressing really from Grimsby. And then we stood on the other side this season, and I think there's a massive metal gate, metal fencing covering half the goal, so you had to stand quite low down again just to see the nearest goal to you, which isn't brilliant. But like I said, it has a lot of character to it, Grimsby. But yeah, definitely needs a lick of paint on that one, and a few other stuff really on the ground to modernise it a little bit. In 12th place, I've got Colchester United. Obviously, it's a complete difference to Grimsby really. It doesn't really have much character, but I think it's a solid ground really. All the stands really are the same level. Obviously, there's a few gaps in the corner, so it could lack in a little bit of the atmosphere, but obviously Colchester don't get many fans at the moment there. And yeah, it's a solid little ground, very similar to Chesterfield's ground, I believe. I think probably built around the same time, who have been promoted this season. So looking forward to going to that one this season. That'll be a new ground for me. But yeah, Colchester 12, nothing outstanding really, but it's a solid little ground for League Two. 11th, I've got my side, Walsall. Yeah, I think obviously the main talking point of our stadium is the massive stand you can see off the M6. I think it's a good stand really. If we talk about atmosphere from that stand, I think it's hard to generate really. You know, it's very high, and you know you can't get much atmosphere going through three tiers, isn't it? So yeah, if we talk about that, but yeah, like I said, Walsall's solid little ground, 11,000 seater. And from a away end, I've never been in the away end, I don't think, or I might have been in it once a few seasons back, but yeah, I think the poles in front of the goal, I think that would be a frustration of mine, but yeah, it's not a bad ground, our stadium, and yeah, probably 11th is probably about right. 10th, I've got Doncaster Rovers. Yeah, very modern ground, I think it's built about 2005, around that time, early 2000s. And yeah, it was one of these bowl shaped stadiums, which I haven't got nothing against really. I think yeah, it's a decent little ground. I think when that stadium's full, like a few of these stadiums, I think it would be a great atmosphere. It's the same level all the way around. I think it's a good look for Doncaster. Obviously, it lacks that character aspect, so I can't put it any higher. But it's a solid little ground, Doncaster, and I enjoy going there as an away fan. So yeah, 10th place. 9th place, Swindon Town. Obviously this one's been a Premier League ground. And obviously the two stands opposite each other on the side, I think they're brilliant. You know, probably League One Championship pushing them type of stands. But obviously the one stand behind the goal, which isn't in use at the moment, I think that they need that, you know, refurbishing really. They need to do something with that. Obviously probably they need to try and get home fans in there, but obviously Swindon's struggling financially at the moment, so that's probably the least of the concerns. And it's obviously, like I said, it's been a Premier League ground. I think it's a 15,000 seater stadium. Decent little ground, Swindon, so I've got them in 9th. 8th place, I've got AFC Wimbledon. Yeah, this is probably the latest stadium to be built out of all the lists, really. Obviously, went there for the first time this season, me for the last game this season, where we got thrashed 5-1. Don't want to speak about that really, but the stadium, it's in a weird location really. When I'm the coach, you just drive up and it's in the middle of, you know, some flat areas, not far from the Brentford ground, I don't think. And yeah, it's not a bad ground. I quite like it, Wimbledon. I think the new main stand, the one beyond the dugout, I think that's an excellent stand. Then the other three, it's all well rounded, it's all connected all the way round. And yeah, I think it's a decent ground, Wimbledon. I think it's a unique one as well, where, like I said, in the location where it is. Obviously, you got that massive building behind the stadium, which, like I said, it's unique. I quite like it, Wimbledon. I thought it weren't a bad ground. I've got them in 8th. 7th, I've got Mansfield Town. Yeah, I think it's a solid ground. Obviously, it'll be a League One stadium next season. And yeah, I've always liked going to Mansfield. I think the away end, I like the away end. Yeah, you can't get a bad view from that stand really. I think they're obviously having some work done on the stand which isn't in operation, the one opposite where all the dugouts are. I think once that gets up and going, I think it'll be a really good stadium, Mansfield. Yeah, it's a really good stadium, quite like it, and that's why I've got it in 7th. 6th, I've got Wrexham. Yeah, it's got a lot of character to it, Wrexham. We went in the away end, obviously, as a Walsall fan. It was on the side, and the only critic I had of it was one of the poles blocked like half the goal. But like I said, I think the character comes into it, and I think obviously I didn't go where I think they're having that new stand behind the goal belt, so if they can get that up and going, I think it will be like a 6th place stadium in League Two. But obviously they won't be in League Two next season. Obviously it'll be a League One ground. Obviously Wrexham have got high ambitions, and I think they're only going to develop that stadium. Wrexham, like I said, got a good character to it as well. So yeah, 6th place for Wrexham. 5th, I've got Stockport County now. Yeah, I've really liked going to Stockport. I think it's a really class stadium. That big stand behind the goal, can't remember what it's called now, but yeah, that's where all the atmosphere comes from. Yeah, I really like that stand. It's not like Walsall's really, where, you know, ours is 3 tiers. It's all 1 tier all the way up. Better atmosphere when it's like that really. And yeah, I like that stand behind the goal. And then the 2 on the side, we're obviously in the one on the side this season on the away end, which, you can see why Stockport do it now, you know, psychologically for an away fan, being on the side, harder to generate atmosphere. Yeah, the two on the side, like I said, they're more, you know, your old-fashioned stands, really, haven't had much work done to it. I think the away end beyond the goal isn't brilliant. We stood there a couple of times, obviously when we won there in the FA Cup. Yeah, it's not a brilliant away end, obviously it's open, covered, there's no covering on the stand, so if it's raining on the day you go, it's not a brilliant one, but obviously I think they've got the home fans behind there. I think they're having some work done to it in the next couple of seasons, or coming up. So yeah, it's a solid ground. Stockport, really like going there, and yeah, 5th for Stockport. Going on to the top 4 now. In 4th, I've got Tranmere Rovers. Prenton Park, yeah, it oozes class, really, I think. Obviously, we've got that massive stand where the home fans have behind the goal, which is a brilliant stand, really. Really good stand for Tranmere, and then they've got that one beyond the dugout, I think. Obviously, that has a lot of character. It's quite a big stand as well. And then the away end is a pretty solid one as well. You get a decent allocation there, you get the full stand. And as a stadium as a whole, like I said, it has that character, but also that class about it. I think it's over 10,000 at least, probably pushing on 15,000 seater stadium. I like Tranmere Stadium, and yeah, really good ground. Tranmere in 4th. On to the top 3, Bradford, I've got in 3rd. Yeah, Bradford, you can't talk bad about that stadium, really. From when I've gone, it's a really good stadium. Obviously in the top 3 in this list compared to some of the other poor stadiums we've had. Obviously this has once been a Premier League ground as well, and yeah, I think I like how some of the stand is connected. I think that's really good. I think, yeah, really good stadium. I think it's pushing on about 20,000 seater, isn't it, Bradford? I think they need to do something to that away end behind the goal. Obviously, I haven't been in that one, but I don't think that one's safe to use. I think that's why I don't use it, only if you get a further allocation as an away fan. So if they can do that up, I think it'd look even better, Bradford. And yeah, really good ground, Bradford, and enjoy going to it. So that's 3rd place. 2nd, and just missing out on the top spot, I've got MK Dons. Obviously, it's the biggest ground in this league, and it's recently built, obviously, for the MK Dons. Obviously, it's a shame I don't fill it, isn't it, really? I think they only get 8,000 out of 30,000, which it looks, you know, empty most of the time. But if you talk about the facilities of that ground, it's outstanding. You know, it's 2-tiered stadium. We was in the upper tier this season. Yeah, it's a really solid ground. It's way too good for League Two. It's pushing on, if you're going off facility wise, it's pushing on, you know, championship level stadium. Obviously that's what it was built for originally. They can't fill it, which puts it down. I can't put it in the top spot, really. Lacks a bit of character as well. So I've got MK Dons 2nd. Leading on to the top spot, I've got Notts County. First time going this season, and I just thought, what a classy stadium it was. Obviously, they got that name tag of being the oldest professional team in the world, and I think the stadium aligns with that. Really, really has a lot of character to it. I like the away end. I think you're never going to get a bad view in that away end. Really good. And I think if you bring a lot of fans to that, you have the whole of that stand, which is good. And then the other parts of the stadium I really like. I think the main stand opposite was a really good one. And like I said, I like Notts County's ground. It has that character. I think some of the seats, and when I went in the pre-season game in 2019, I can't remember this time around if they had changed any of it, but they had wooden seats last time I went. I've probably changed that now, but when I went in 2019, I thought that was a really good, you know, you could just tell, been there for a while, experienced stadium. But yeah, it's a really good ground, Notts County, and looking forward to going to it next season. 19,000 seater. Yeah, you can't say anything bad about that stadium, and personally, the best ground in this league. So there you go. I've gone from 24 up to 1, ranking all the League 2 stadiums from the 2023-24 season. Let me know in the comments what you think. Obviously, I'm going off past experience when I've gone to the games. I've been to every stadium in this league now, so I've got a fair judgment of it. Let me know if you'd have changed anything in my list. Yeah, opinions vary, so it'd be good to hear in the comments what you think. So yeah, thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.